to another episode of The Takeover by Tanya Sardana. This is part 2 of my feature on Canadian real estate. And in this episode, we discuss Montreal's growing real estate market and economy and how under the radar it is. Part 1 of this feature was about the real estate crisis that Toronto is currently facing. So if you haven't seen that one yet, make sure you do. So you know what everyone says about Montreal? Is how cute the girls are, how fun the nightlife is, how pretty cold it gets, and how cheap everything is. But what a lot of people overlook is how great the value of real estate is here, especially the recent developments in downtown and Griffintown. Now, if you did see part 1 of the Canadian real estate feature, you would have noticed the year-over-year price increase for homes in Montreal has only increased by 4 basis points as of February 2017, as to Toronto's gargantuan 23 points. Basically meaning you would pay only half or even close to a third of the amount per square foot if you were to buy in Montreal than if you were to in Toronto. So basically a home in Toronto would cost you $700,000 and that would only cost you less than $300,000 in Montreal. And trust me, there are some gorgeous listings to be bought at that price, and more if you're able to afford it, which around here you very easily can, as anything that you pay for over here will be cheaper per square foot than you would pay for anywhere else in most metro cities in Canada. So let's say that you're an investor and you're thinking, hey, real estate is cheaper in Montreal. However, can Montreal produce the economic growth that is needed to sustain the value of my asset, appreciating in the long term? Well, yes. Montreal has recently become the new hotbed for artificial intelligence and deep learning investments from tech conglomerates such as Microsoft and Google, as they continue on a Montreal AI startup acquisition spree, with a recent Montreal startup being Maluba, recently acquired by Microsoft. The investments are also a result of Google's head office being present right on St. Catherine, housing specialists in programmatic ad buying, and the presence of McGill University, one of Canada's most prided Ivy Leagues, producing many great tech minds and business leaders. Now, as many know, Montreal is already home to the video game industry giant Ubisoft. However, the city is expanding its hold on the video game industry with Electronic Arts, or EA, as the company has announced just last week that it wants a piece of the pie and that it plans to create over 500 new jobs in Montreal in the next decade, with the publisher's total investments in the region amounting to over $500 million, as stated by Quebec's Minister of Finance. Unemployment rate in Montreal has been its lowest in the year of 2016, seeing a net of 84,500 full-time jobs, which was more than Canada's 9 other provinces combined. Overall, Canada saw a 1.2% increase in employment last year, whereas Montreal's increase was 7.3%. With access to such intellectual capital, by being home to over 10 universities and higher education institutions, a relatively younger workforce, and a vibrant community and culture, Montreal is slowly but surely being converted into a future tech hotbed. So, what does this mean for real estate? Well, more high-rise condominium complexes in downtown Montreal, close to the main universities and downtown business districts, catering to students and young professionals that can take advantage of the cheap rates and dispose some of that disposable income simply because they can. This trend has been confirmed by the Greater Montreal's Real Estate Board, as the most recent residential sales statistics have disclosed close to 12,000 residential sales concluded in the first quarter of 2017, a 6% increase compared to the first quarter of last year, and most importantly, the best quarter Montreal has seen in the last 5 years. Paul Cardinal, manager of the Quebec Real Estate Board's Market Analysis Department, has attributed this to the exceptionally strong labor market and the significant increase in net migration stimulating the demand for housing. Now, this is original demand, as opposed to the speculative demand that is causing the Toronto real estate bubble, as seen in part 1 of this feature. In Montreal, it is high-end properties that have been winning this quarter, as the sales of properties over $500,000 or more have increased by 22% compared to the first quarter of 2016, and better than the overall market for the past 11 quarters. So now, let's sit down with one of Montreal's top residential real estate brokers specializing in luxury real estate to talk about Montreal's booming luxury real estate market.
Their kids have to find homes.
Absolutely.
They have to put them in school, and this just migrates over from one level to the next.
Absolutely.
Montreal has recessed only because we're in a transition. We're also coming up with our anniversary, which is going to be huge, which will attract a lot of foreign investments.
Absolutely.
And
well, the way they're positioning themselves, you know, we spoke of the amount of universities over here, the amount of, well, innovation potential that is coming up. You know, being bilingual, I was also reading how there's a lot of interest from France. So a lot of France, you know.
Definitely. Myself, I deal with them.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
luxury condos, they come here because we're little France, right?
Absolutely, exactly. It's a modification of it.
We speak their language.
So, hello everybody, and today here we are with Pervez. And Pervez is one of Montreal's top real estate brokers in the luxury sector. And he's joining us today to talk about how Montreal is becoming a market that is more and more likely to do great things as opposed to different cosmopolitan cities in Toronto in terms of real estate.
If we just go by the numbers, if you're talking to somebody and you're telling them why would Montreal be the place to invest right now, well, the numbers speak for themselves. On the average sale prices in Montreal, you're looking in the mid 300s.
Okay? That's very cheap, by
which
the way.
is very cheap.
Yes.
Then you look at Toronto.
710
in the sevens, about 668, 670.
That's the average price of a standalone home that doesn't even look that great. Probably needs renovation. The value that you're getting out of it, it's, you know, the difference today is startling. And which is why Montreal, I think, you know, and you see it firsthand, makes a great market because per square footage for the amount of space, you're paying nothing.
You're paying less than the national average in all of Canada, which is in the, I believe the stats say about 420, 430. We're still at 350. So the national average being the second largest city in Canada, we're at 350.
That's incredible. Montreal is underrated in any way compared to Toronto or Vancouver in terms of culture and lifestyle?
I think to respond to that is a definite yes. That is a must say. But exactly, you nailed it on the head. Is the culture.
The culture
is, if you look back about, I don't know, 8 years ago, what was the #1 city in Canada? It was Montreal. It was different flavors of cuisines. You got the spectacle just here. You got the downtown core, and you had a new evolution of condos as well called Griffintown.
Yes.
Griffintown, which is basically in the center of Montreal towards the canal, off of between Wellington and starting at the point of Mountain Street, as we call it. It was just a humongous boom in construction. Over 2,000 units.
I remember passing through Griffintown and the taxi wouldn't, you know, go straight because there was so much construction.
There was so much construction.
Yes. Brossard, by the way, it's another gorgeous community.
Booming. It's up in the 18%.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of room to go.
Absolutely.
They are also building one of the largest, if I'm not mistaken, largest bridge in North America, the Champlain Bridge.
Right.
Which is due for delivery.
They wanted to do that for the anniversary.
Yeah, and I'm actually playing volleyball tournaments, and one of the people I play with, he's an engineer.
Okay.
And he said to me openly, he said, I said, so what are we looking at? 219, 220? He's like, no.
Really?
218.
No way.
And you could see in his face because he was so tired. He's like, it's coming in 218, and they will hit the target.
So will that shorten the travel distance between downtown?
This will basically renew the South Shore completely. And if, in my views, I cannot say this for a fact because it hasn't happened yet, it will significantly increase the values in Brossard because you will have a state-of-the-art bridge with an electrical train that will bring you to this downtown core area in 7 to 10 minutes. No, in Brossard, you got to understand that the home prices are equivalent to Montreal. We're almost surpassing them.
Absolutely. You know, I've been to standalone houses in Brossard, and they are spectacular. It's a place for, you know, well-settled families and
immigrants of all sides and facets.
The Quartier des Latins.
Quartier Latin. Yes. Yeah, that's a beautiful area that they've injected. The city has injected a lot of money. The people love it there. It's a humongous open area, and you have all the stores, all the Carrefours there as well. You have Desjardins Center there is well known, and that's soon to attract even more investors and buyers because it is a central hub, apart from the central core of downtown.
Absolutely.
But the point also that I wanted to make was when you look at the market in Montreal, in terms of what is for sale and what's for rent, you know what the percentage is?
What is?
It's about 51 to 49%.
Really?
So what does that tell you? 50-50 between rental and sales? That's not how Toronto is. That's not how Vancouver
That's
is.
it. There's more sale than renting, but I think it also has to do with the the type of population in Montreal.
Exactly.
Which is very student based. So a lot of the current home that I live in was bought by an investor in Russia. So they bought it for investing purposes.
Yeah.
So investing for the purpose of having it as an income property and then leasing it out to students, because people realize that Montreal is a city which has over 16 universities and big CEGEP schools in total. More or less. Yeah. And these are students that are not going to put on their roots in the ground yet. So it's a very rental market. So it's happening, and we're super excited about it.
Only has one way to go. I truly believe in that, and that's up. And if you have money to invest, I mean, Montreal.
This is the place to come right now.
This is the place to do it.
At the time, this is currently a buyer's market, where Toronto is a seller's market. Yeah. Right now.
Very well said. Yeah. It's truly a buyer's market.
Buyer's market.
You still have great deals.
You know how to get in touch with.
Just get in touch with us, and we'll set you up definitely.
We'll put in Purvase's contact details in the description, so you can definitely.
With pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It was such a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
The last little tip about Montreal's real estate sector that is so key is that Montreal still has a very low profile internationally that has sparred it from the foreign investors that are responsible to inflate the home prices in Toronto and Vancouver, as we discussed in the first part of this feature. And so, if I were you, I'd get my hands dirty and grab up some of that Montreal real estate right now before this video goes viral. Because this place, regardless of anything, will eventually come up on the radar and face inflation. And you want to be the one who knew first and who knew best. So good luck. So everyone, it's time for a few product features of the day. People who like this video might also like a Timex Men's Expedition Field Chronograph watch, so you don't have to break the bank and still tell time. A Babyity eye gel for dark circles, puffiness, wrinkles, and bags, so you can pull off those all-nighters and still look good. The Instant Pot 7-in-1 multifunctional pressure cooker. I kid you not, this thing can pretty much cook, steam, saute, or warm anything. It's so easy that it's not even funny. Older Woman's Xena flat sandals. Summer's coming up, and girl, you need these. The original Donut Shop Keurig single-serve K-Cup pods. Because if you can't have donuts, then you can at least have donut-flavored coffee. So go ahead and give somebody something from this channel. And remember, it just might be yourself. Please note that all product links have been listed in the video description below. Also, don't forget to share this video with your networks, follow my accounts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel, as more powerful material is only yet to come your way. Stay tuned.